What's going on, guys? This is AEW, and today we're going to be talking about this Friday's WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. Of course, I am the extra crispy colonel alongside with Kyle, and we are going to get right into it. No long intros. Just going to be giving our thoughts on the each person going in the Hall of Fame, each superstar, I should say. Go in the Hall of Fame this Friday. So I'm gonna let Kyle start this one off. I'm gonna bring up the first name though. We're gonna start off with Mark Henry. I don't know why I decided to choose him first, but Kyle, go ahead and give your thoughts.
Yep. Good class this year, as always. The Hall of Fame is always filled with past legends and superstars and Donald Trump. So, it's automatically a good Hall of Fame. So this year, like you said, Mark Henry, what an inductee Mark Henry is. Former World Heavyweight Champion, ECW Champion, European Champion, Tag Team Champion. He's been there, done that, as some will say. He is going from the Hall of Pain, putting people in the Hall of Fame, to going into the Hall of Fame himself, and it's a good one. I mean, when you think of guys who dominated the early 2010s, early 2010s, you look at Mark Henry, his big run on SmackDown from 2010 to 2012 as world champion, feud with Big Show, Daniel Bryan, Christian, Randy Orton, just to name a few names. Then even before that, the big run on ECW that he had when he feuded with Jack Swagger, and I think even Christian there as well, for the ECW championship, Matt Hardy. And then later in his career, sort of kind of faded off a little bit, had the good program with John Cena for a little bit in 2013, did not win the WWE title though, but might be one of the best superstars, I would say, to never be WWE champion. That's pretty bold there, because we've only had 50 WWE champions, and Mark Henry has never been WWE champion, though I said he's been world champion and ECW champion. But yep, so this is a very, very deserving. I guess this is pretty much saying his career is over. I think we've thought that for the past few years, but I don't think we know who's going to be inducting him yet. But perhaps Tony Atlas, his former manager, could return at the Hall of Fame and induct him. That's my prediction. That's my legitimate prediction. So, Joe, you could talk a little bit about Mark Henry. I pretty much covered it all, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely. You covered it all. I'm not going to add much more. I do like your pick for Tony Atlas. I think that would be a pretty good pick. Or perhaps somebody who early on, perhaps a member of the Nation of Domination could induct him, maybe Farouk or somebody. But I do like your pick for Tony Atlas. So I'm just going to move on, and I'll discuss a little bit about our next one. We're going to talk about Hillbilly Jim next, and this is one. When I heard he was going to the Hall of Fame, it's kind of weird. I've heard some mixed reactions on this one, and I really don't get it. Of course, every year in the Hall of Fame, we get, but there are complaints about, why isn't this person, and why is this person in before this person, but I really think that in this case, Hillbilly Jim is very deserving of this. I was looking, and, usually people like to base off deserving to be in the Hall of Fame based on championships and stuff like that. But he, throughout his career, did not win a single championship in his entire career, anywhere he's been, and pretty much was only in the WWF, which is kind of strange. He never went anywhere else, but nonetheless, never won a championship in his career. And something I didn't know until earlier today, back in 2003, Pro Wrestling Illustrated put out a top 500 best singles wrestlers during what they call the PWI years since they started, and they put him at number 298. 298, which is kind of surprising that it's, I think that's right where it should be, honestly. This guy, have seen clips of him for years. Definitely one of the most charismatic guys to be in the business. And I just think that he's very deserving of this, despite not winning a single championship, which is very interesting. So I'm going to hand this one over to Kyle. And do you have anything to add to this?
Actually, while you were talking, I was listening to you on speaker. I was also looking up something. I have two updates. One, actually, Mark Henry today was actually announced he's going to be inducted by The Big Show. So that is pretty interesting. And that's the only. Well, also the update is Hillbilly Jim going to be inducted by Jimmy Hart. We're just going to update you guys on that as we go. I'm sure a lot of people know, but still. Anyway, I agree with Hillbilly Jim. This is a weird one because he actually wrestled 7 years in WWF. He was like from 84 to like 91. And then he made sporadic appearances afterward. But he's actually retired as a full-time performer in 1991. So we're looking at somebody who's been retired close to 30 years. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, he's almost been retired for 30 years. He's like, I mean, you're right. He's never won a single championship, no mid-card titles. I don't remember any of his matches. But it might be a case of, hey, he's a big name. Hey, he's going to have a very, very good Hall of Fame speech. Oh, this is what, it'll be good. It'll be entertaining. But I feel like this is more of a filler. It's going to be cool to see Jimmy Hart induct him. I think they were really good friends on Legends House. Anybody remember that show? They were good friends. I think that Hillbilly and Jimmy, they played music together. So maybe they're just buddies. Yeah, I mean, good for Hillbilly. It's going to be good to see him. That's his first name, Hillbilly. But yeah, so, I mean, probably the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Hall of Fame inductees this year. But, hey, somebody's got to go in and it's a filler. So, but he's in. Good for him. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, definitely, Hillbilly is deserving. So I'm going to have you start the next one. Next talk, we're going to talk about, let's go to talk about Ivory in the Hall of Fame.
Ivory, okay. Ivory, she's being inducted by Molly Holly, of course. She was a 90s wrestler. I mean, mid to late 90s and then into the 2000s. Who can forget her run in Right to Censor, perhaps one of the best stables in all of WWE, WWF history. Yeah, good for Ivory. I mean, we're looking at a former women's champion. Right there, is a real reason you should be in. She's one I don't really remember all that much. Like I said, Right to Censor is honestly what I remember about her for the most part. And, but, like they said, they always need a woman to go in every year, and I think that she's deserving. I mean, if you look at who hasn't went in yet, obviously China is at the top of the list. Miss Elizabeth is also at the top of the list. But when you think of a strong performer, a consistent performer, I was actually just looking. She had a good long run, actually. She wrestled a lot longer than I think people thought. And she, like I think I already said, she's going to be inducted by Molly Holly, which is another one that we really enjoy seeing. We saw her in the Women's Royal Rumble, Molly Holly. So they were friends, of course, in their career, both wrestled around the same time. So, yeah, Ivory's a very strong inductee this year, and her speech should be really good. So, there you go.
Definitely. Was reading up on lots of championships throughout her career. In 3 times women's champion in WWF and E, and a bunch of other women's titles, whether throughout the independent circuit as well. Definitely deserving. All right. Next, we're going to talk about. Let's go for Kid Rock. I've been waiting to talk about Kid Rock going in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame this year, and this every year, no matter who goes in the celebrity wing of it, there's always going to be people who laugh at it and say, why is this a part of the Hall of Fame? And I kind of get that, but also I think it is kind of a neat, hashtag neat, thing for the Hall of Fame to have. And I think that Kid Rock is deserving of this. He's definitely been affiliated with the WWE for years now. Constantly been a supporter, I should say, supporter of the company, making appearances sometimes, like at the tribute to the troops. And, I just think that along with the other past inductees, such as the name you said earlier, Trump, it is a good move to do this, not only to, and the whole thing with the Hall of Fame is, a Hall of Fame in anything, when it comes down to it, is pretty much a way to make money. That's what it is. It's a lot of people will be like, no, we're honoring each one. No, it's a marketing move, and having the celebrity wing definitely adds to that. People who are fans of Kid Rock, wherever they are. No, I'm kidding. Whether they watch WWE or not, they're going to hear about this somehow. And, some people might be interested in tuning in. Some people will be like, what? Why is he going in the WWE Hall of Fame? So that it definitely draws some kind of interest. It gets some people talking about it. But yeah, I definitely think that he's deserving of the celebrity wing. Any thoughts on that? You're the big Kid Rock fan, right?
Right, yeah, I mean, good for him. You're right about, it's a marketing thing. If you look at some of the past, Snoop Dogg went in 2 years ago. So, I mean, what did he really do, realistically? But for Kid Rock, I feel like you were saying, tribute to the troops. He's performed on Monday Night Raw. He has performed at a WrestleMania. He provided the entrance music to The Undertaker during his American Badass character, which was really cool. So, yeah, good for Kid. That's his first name. It's good to see the celebrity wing return. We didn't have a celebrity inductee last year. And I think Kid Rock is a pretty deserving. Yeah, I mean, I know, like, when you say deserving, you're like, well, WWE Hall of Fame is meant to honor people who have also made an impact with WWE, who has changed WWE for the better. And Kid Rock, I mean, he's really, really good with the tribute to the troops. He's been there at least, a couple times. He brought in The Undertaker at the American Badass. That was a whole gimmick change for him. And, yeah, so good. And he, WrestleMania, which is not many acts have performed on Raw. He has the rare distinction, as his video package said. But yeah, good for Kid, and that's your celebrity inductee this year. So cool.
All right.
He joins Pete Rose.
Yes, Pete Rose. I was reading up on that.
Pete, yeah. Perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. Kid is going in, and next. Did I talk about? Yeah, I did last time. I rambled. I remember. I'm gonna have you start this one off. Talking about next. We're gonna talk about the Warrior Award this year. Give us your, obviously, this, I'll cut over to you in just a second. I just want to say, obviously, is a great, addition to the Hall of Fame in the past few years. Believe it started 2015 was the first one.
Yep.
Or 16, yeah. And, there's really not much to talk about on this, so I think that we can both agree that this is a great addition to the Hall of Fame, and, anyone that they decide to give this, there's obviously no debate on this. I don't really think there's nothing for either of us to say, but, for sure, this is, a great thing that they've added to Hall of Fame. Do you have any thoughts on it before we move on?
I mean,
I don't
you're
want
right. And it's Jarius J.J. Robertson this year, a young boy who battles some sort of disease, and he has been involved with many superstars. We see, they've been giving him WWE championships, Universal championships, all this stuff, and he joins. He's the fourth member. That's good for him. It'll be a good speech because it's a different speech. We haven't really seen a young child do it. It's been adults the past 2 years, and of course the first year was Connor, and we had Daniel Bryan out there. So it's cool. It's a very, very good award. It's similar to like an award at any other award show, like a lifetime achievement, or an Ultimate Warrior the year after he died. They started. I think it's cool. It's a great award. It's always a really good part of the WWE Hall of Fame. A great addition. I thought that they should have done this years ago. So I'm glad they did it. So a very good addition. Yep.
Definitely. All right, next. This one I'll have you start off with. Next, we're going to be talking about the Dudley Boys going in. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think iconic WWE tag teams, you think three, right? I mean, of the 90s and the 2000s, you think the Hardy Boys, you think Edge and Christian, who are inducting the Dudley Boys, and third, the Dudley Boys. I mean, the three of the greatest WWE tag teams of all time, and certainly three of the greatest throughout the 90s and 2000s. Revolutionized the ladder match, the TLC match. But let's just talk about the Dudley Boys because that's who's going in this year before the other two. Actually, I think Edge winning by himself, but still. So, Bubba Ray Dudley and Yvonne Dudley going in finally to the WWE Hall of Fame. They're members of the TNA Hall of Fame, but now they're WWE Hall of Fame members, and this is great. I mean, this is like I believe when you think tag teams among all three major wrestling organizations, WWE, WCW, ECW, out of all three, Dudleys were the best in WWE and ECW. And certainly one of the best of all time. Really cool for them. And like I said, getting inducted by Edge and Christian, which is awesome. And good for these guys. They've won double-digit tag team championships, and anywhere they've competed, they seem to be tag team champions. Yvonne still works for WWE within a producer role, which is cool to see him still backstage. Bubba Ray, I recently believe, had to end his wrestling career not too long ago due to injuries, but these guys made an impact, and they're going to make an impact still for years, especially with Yvonne, what he's been doing backstage, and I'm sure Bubba Ray is still doing special stuff. So this is, I think, I know I'm a little early to say this, but when you look at all we haven't talked about everybody yet, but when you look at all of the inductees, I think these is your best and most deserving. Right here, Dudley Boys, no doubt.
Definitely. Won championships pretty much probably everywhere they've gone. I could be wrong in that, but that's what they always say, at least. And I believe that's true. I think they've won the total number of championships, everywhere combined, is somewhere around 40-time champions, somewhere around there. It's crazy number. So no doubt this is I don't want to say overdue because obviously they've been away from the company many times for years. It wasn't until a couple of years ago they came back, and but as far as their accomplishments, it is overdue. Definitely deserved. All right, next I'll talk about this one. I didn't even realize, because I was going through the list here and didn't even realize I was about to skip this guy. We were about to skip Double J Jeff Jarrett going in the Hall of Fame this year, and he has had a very, very, very long career. Started in 1986. He debuted in '86 for the Continental Wrestling Association, and then before eventually going to the WWF in '92. But obviously he's probably most known, most of his career during his, I guess you could say, prime, when we're talking about, relevancy. would have to be in TNA, which is very interesting. That I was going to say WCW, but don't even get it started on. He was the founder, I believe, of TNA, and that between that and WCW, two of his most known runs. Obviously was in the WWF in the late 90s, up to, I want to say, that's very tough to say. Yeah, he was there from 92 to 94 and then went back in, I believe, 98, and then went back to WCW. Anyways, I'm rambling. Before eventually starting TNA, where, obviously now it's global. I don't know what it's called now. But anyways, he's definitely throughout his whole career been all about bringing up young talent. That was the whole point of TNA, starting something new, and he's helped a lot of young guys along the way. I think that definitely with him going in the Hall of Fame, which was a huge shock to me personally, I think this could possibly lead to him not returning on screen, but I think that the WWE could definitely use someone like him as a coach in the Performance Center or backstage. I think that would be a great addition to the company. And throughout his career, just tons and tons and tons of accomplishments and championships. What else can be said? As far as the WWF, he's a 6-time Intercontinental Champion. That's what I've always known him most for. European Championship, Tag Team Championship, and then obviously in WCW, 4-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and a 3-time United States Champion there. Definitely, I keep saying that for everybody, but I don't really disagree with anybody going in this year, but very, very deserving of this. It was, like I said, a huge shock when this news came out. I guess it was maybe 2 months ago or so. But I think it's definitely well-deserved. Do you have any thoughts on Double J going in?
I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, this is a two-sided. I mean, you can put him in for two different reasons. One, like you said, 6-time Intercontinental Champion. I mean, that has to be up there in the top 5 of reigns. I mean, you look at when you think of multi-time Intercontinental Champions, Jeff Jarrett, Chris Jericho, The Miz, you think them guys 6 times. 4 times he held a world title. 4 different times. I know it's WCW, but still, that's cool. And you're right. I mean, we just look at this guy as, he's ran promotion, or the promotion that has given guys like Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Eric Young, just to name a few, their first major exposure. That's pretty much what he did with the NWA/TNA. And that's so interesting because when he left WCW, when they had folded, he went and he started, this crazy thing in Orlando, called TNA. And, look how many stars TNA has had. Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, NWO, so many that Jeff Jarrett was the center of himself for all them years. And, so that's awesome. And I mean, you're absolutely right about this being a shocker. I mean, even Jeff Jarrett himself said he was shocked when he received the call from Vince McMahon. He went right on it. And I don't think it's the fact that Vince and Jeff Jarrett were never friends. I just think Jeff Jarrett wanted to go and do something for himself. I believe him and his brother, him and his dad founded TNA, and, it has evolved. Well, it did evolve now, of course, falling down a bit. A great inductee. And the road dog, Jesse James, is going to be inducting him. So that should be a very, very entertaining speech by Jeff Jarrett. The first time we've heard Jeff Jarrett speak on WWE television in over 20 years, probably. I mean, at least 20 years. Because you got to think, he had his run in WWE in the 90s. I mean, he had to be gone by 97, so, or at least right around that time. So that's crazy. So, yeah, I would say this is the 3rd best this year for Jeff Jarrett. 3rd best inductee. So, cool. Good for Jeff.
All right. Now it is time for the, I guess, the headliner of the Hall of Fame, and that would be, of course, Bill Goldberg going in. I call him Bill because I know him personally, by the way. What can be said other than, obviously he's being inducted by Paul Heyman, which is very interesting. I don't personally know the connection that both of them have. Because they were in WCW 2 different times, and then we really only saw them both on screen and in the company at the same time around, when he came back. Was it last year? Yeah, 2 years ago, I should say, when he came back to the company. But other than that, I don't know the connection. But either way, the Hall of Fame is, it's all for guys who pretty much make an impact. And Goldberg definitely, whether you like him or not, whether you liked his crappy Universal title reign or not, he made an impact definitely in the past few years, but definitely in WCW, having the 173-0 undefeated streak, which, it's inaccurate, but still, huge undefeated streak. And becoming a WCW world champion, was a world heavyweight champion in WWE when he eventually came over in 2002, 3, somewhere around there. And of course, like I said, won the Universal Championship, and buried Kevin Owens. No, I'm kidding. But definitely had a huge impact in, both of the companies, WCW and WWE. Other than that, he's really never competed anywhere else. He kind of faded away after and left wrestling after his first WWE run. Never really did anything after that. And then, his return, I should say 2 years ago, was huge. And, it's definitely great that he's being honored with this. And really, there's nothing more to be said other, he actually in 1998, and this is very surprising because throughout his career, people, critics of Goldberg have always said that he's just a guy with, 3-4 moves. He comes back from matches. He either squashes somebody, or there's this huge comeback and he wins suddenly. And partly true. But in '98, he was given number 2 of the 500 best singles wrestlers by PWI. Very interesting on that, because even back then he was, squashing and coming back, and it's for matches. It's very interesting. Do you have any thoughts on this, Kyle? Before I continue to repeat myself.
No, I mean, yeah, we all know who Goldberg is. I mean, when you go to a wrestling show back in the 90s, WCW, Goldberg was the guy. He was WCW's guy. He was the young up-and-comer, and surprisingly, I believe he only had 1 reign as WCW World Champion, which is quite shocking. And you're right, he never wrestled anywhere else than WWE, but he was it's a name. It's a big name, Bill Goldberg. You're right, he fought guys like Hollywood Hulk Hogan and, in the WWE run, Triple H, and, when he came back, Brock Lesnar, we know, and, maybe, my bold prediction at the Hall of Fame is that Kevin Owens is going to challenge Goldberg for a rematch, because neither man got their rematch clause for the Universal Championship. But anyway, good. This is a good inductee. This is a good headliner. Some were calling this perhaps a fill-in headliner, because think about the next couple guys that are going to headline the WWE Hall of Fame: Undertaker, The Rock. Guys haven't went in yet. They're going to be the next headline. Is Goldberg just like a guy who's just going in as a filler, or is he actually going in? We don't know. Was this too early? Was this too late? Does this make Goldberg's career officially over? I don't know, but you pretty much covered it. WWE Universal Champion, WCW World Champion, WWE World Champion. He's done it all. I mean, 173-0 or 200. What of them? Streak. No, I mean, he's the Oscar of the WCW, and that's what he should be referred as. He was the Empress of yesterday.
Yes.
But so good for Goldberg, though. I mean, this is awesome. It's going to be a good headliner. I know his speech is going to be awesome because I watched the WWE 24 on the network. It was really entertaining. So this induction ceremony headlined by Goldberg. That's cool, and I think this is the wrap up.
This is the wrap up. Like you said, it's a good lineup this year. No complaints. We're gonna wrap this up. We thank you all for listening. This was something we definitely wanted to do, as well as coming up. We're gonna be obviously not in this video, but we're gonna be recording predictions for both NXT Takeover and WrestleMania coming up this weekend. Those should be up later on this week. So definitely stay tuned for those. Other than that, that's it. We'll see you in... It's been a long time since I've closed a video. I'm kind of lost for words. It's been several years. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. We'll see you later.